town of Millstone, Pennsylvania, had always seemed quiet, a place where life moved at the slow pace of rusting train tracks and small diners that never closed. But one October morning, the peace shattered. At 6:45 a.m., a fisherman named Carl Evans pulled something heavy from the Susquehanna River. At first, he thought it was a log caught in his line, but when the weight rolled against the bank, the truth froze him in place. It was a body, the corpse of a young man, maybe late 20s, dressed in a torn business suit. His tie wrapped so tightly around his neck it cut into the skin. His eyes were open, glassy, staring at nothing. On his wrist was a broken Rolex. The hands stopped at 2:13. The police came quickly, but their arrival felt rehearsed. Too neat, too controlled. Sheriff Daniel Griggs, tall and stiff, barked orders to keep people back. No reporters allowed, no photos. "Contain it," he said, almost under his breath. Carl Evans swore later that he saw one of the deputies remove something from the victim's inside pocket before the crime scene photographer arrived. A flash of white paper, folded 3 times. Whatever it was, it disappeared into the deputy's jacket, never logged into evidence. By noon, the official statement was out. Unidentified male, suspected drowning accident. Investigation ongoing. But everyone in Millstone knew 2 things. That man had not drowned. And in a town where everyone owed favors to someone, this death meant trouble was about to begin. At the Millstone Gazette, local journalist Rebecca Hale read the statement and felt her stomach twist. She had been covering small-town scandals for years, drug overdoses, quiet embezzlements, an occasional scandal in the mayor's office. But this smelled different. "Drowning accident?" she muttered to her editor. Since when do drowning victims wear silk ties pulled tight enough to crush their windpipes? Her editor sighed. "Leave it, Rebecca. Sheriff Griggs doesn't want noise. That's your hint." But Rebecca didn't leave it. That night, she drove to the river. The scene was empty, taped off, but footprints still marked the mud. Near the waterline, half buried in the dirt, she found something small and metallic. She wiped it off with her sleeve. It was a brass key. Stamped on the head was a number, 314. She didn't know yet that this key would drag her deep into the darkest corners of Millstone, where every locked door hid something someone would kill to protect. Rebecca couldn't stop staring at the brass key in her hand. 314. A number, cleanly stamped, slightly worn. It didn't look like a house key, too small, too thin. More like a locker, a storage unit, maybe, or a safe deposit box. She slipped it into her jacket before headlights flashed across the riverbank. A black SUV rolled slowly past the taped-off area, windows tinted, no plates visible in the dark. Rebecca froze. The SUV paused for a second, then moved on. She knew instantly someone was watching. The next morning, she went to the Gazette, key still hidden in her pocket. Her editor barely looked up. "Drop it, Rebecca. I mean it. Griggs called this morning. He doesn't want the press stirring rumors." Rumors. That word tasted bitter. She knew what rumors meant in Millstone. Truth nobody wanted to face. Ignoring the warning, she drove to the nearest storage facility. Row after row of blue metal doors, each with a number. She scanned until she found it. 314. Her heart thudded. The key fit. The lock clicked. Inside was a plain cardboard box, nothing else. She pulled it out, set it on the cold concrete, and lifted the lid. Stacks of papers, photographs, and at the very bottom, a small black ledger bound in cracked leather. On the first page, names, dozens of them, some with addresses, some crossed out. Next to several names was a single word, paid. Others read owed. Her pulse raced as she turned the pages. The last few entries weren't names at all, but initials. DG appeared more than once. Daniel Griggs, Sheriff. Rebecca shut the book so fast dust puffed into the air. She was holding evidence of something big, bigger than she could yet imagine. And then she heard the crunch of boots on gravel. 2 men in dark jackets stood at the end of the row, their faces unreadable, their hands buried in their pockets. One of them called out, calm but firm, Miss Hale, that's not your property. Her instinct screamed, run. She shoved the ledger under her coat, dropped the box, and sprinted to her car. Tires squealed as she shot out of the facility. In the rearview mirror, the men didn't chase. They didn't need to. They'd seen her face. That night, she locked her doors, blinds shut tight. But sleep wouldn't come. At 3:12 a.m., her phone buzzed. No caller ID. She answered, whispering, hello. A man's voice, low and deliberate, filled her ear. You don't know what you've found. Put it back. Forget this. If you don't, you'll end up in the river like him. Click. Her hands trembled, but deep down, she knew. This was the story of her life. The one that could either destroy her or finally expose the rotten core of Millstone. And she wasn't about to let it go. Rebecca didn't sleep the rest of the night. The ledger lay on her desk, its cracked leather cover staring at her like it was alive, daring her to open it again. By dawn, she couldn't resist. Page after page, the same pattern. Names, initials, money amounts, and check marks. Some of the names she recognized: local business owners, the president of the Millstone Bank, even Pastor Riley from St. Mark's Church. But then her breath caught. There, scrawled in rough handwriting, was the name of Mayor Charles Whitaker. Next to it, $50,000 owed. And below it, Sheriff Daniel Griggs. Paid. Rebecca's stomach turned. This wasn't just corruption, it was a system. An entire city run like a company, debts and favors traded like stock. She snapped photos of the pages with her phone, just in case. As she reached the back of the book, something even stranger appeared. A separate section, marked only with the word transit. Underneath were codes, dates, and single words like delivery or complete, and then initials again, DG, CW, and others she didn't recognize. The most chilling entry was dated only 2 nights before the body showed up in the river. Transit, 2 units, complete. Units. She didn't know why, but the word made her blood run cold. Before she could dig further, her phone buzzed. It was Carl Evans, the fisherman who'd found the body. His voice shook. Rebecca, I think someone's watching me. There's a car outside my house. Black SUV. Same one from the river. Her chest tightened. Carl, don't open the door. Stay inside. I'll come. The line went dead. Rebecca grabbed her coat and the ledger. But by the time she reached Carl's small house on the edge of town, the place was dark. The front door stood open, swinging slightly in the wind. Inside, the living room was a mess. Chairs overturned, glass shattered. And on the floor, in the middle of the rug, was Carl's phone. The screen cracked, still faintly glowing. But Carl was gone. Rebecca's pulse hammered in her ears. This was no longer just about a mysterious death. People were being erased. She stumbled back outside, and that's when she saw it. Parked across the street, half hidden in shadow. The same black SUV. Its engine was running. And this time, the door opened. Rebecca didn't wait to see who stepped out of the SUV. She ran. Gravel crunched under her boots as she sprinted back to her car. The ledger pressed tight against her chest. Behind her, footsteps thundered. Closer, closer. A hand brushed her shoulder. She twisted, swung her elbow, and broke free. She threw herself into the driver's seat, locked the doors, and gunned the engine. The SUV roared to life behind her, headlights blazing. The chase tore through Millstone's empty streets. Rebecca's tires screeched as she swerved through red lights, the SUV always just seconds behind. Her heart pounded, but her mind was clear. She couldn't just run. She needed proof, evidence strong enough to bury them all. She headed straight for the Gazette. Inside the dark newsroom, she booted up her computer, slammed the ledger on the desk, and started typing. Every name, every number, every damning page went into her notes. She uploaded the photos she'd taken, ready to send everything to the state police, to national outlets, anywhere safe from Griggs's control. That's when the front door creaked. She froze. Sheriff Daniel Griggs stepped inside, calm, deliberate, like a man entering his own kitchen. His badge gleamed under the fluorescent lights. "You should have listened, Rebecca," he said softly. Now it's too late. Behind him, two men dragged in Carl Evans. Bloodied, bound, barely conscious. They dropped him on the floor like trash. Rebecca's throat went dry. Why? Why him? Why any of this? Griggs smiled. A cold, joyless thing. Because Millstone isn't a town. It's an investment. People like Whitaker and me, we keep the wheels turning. And the transit. He leaned closer, voice dropping to a whisper. The transit keeps us rich. Cargo comes in. Cargo goes out. Simple. Cargo. Rebecca's stomach twisted. You mean people? His silence was answer enough. Adrenaline surged. Rebecca grabbed the ledger, clutching it to her chest. The world will see this. Griggs chuckled. The world doesn't care. And by tomorrow you'll be another name in the river. He drew his gun. Rebecca slammed her hand on the keyboard. The files, the scans, the notes, shot through cyberspace to every contact she had, every journalist who'd ever owed her a favor. Her final insurance. Griggs's eyes narrowed. He realized too late what she'd done. The gun roared. Pain ripped through Rebecca's side. She fell, vision blurring, the taste of iron in her mouth. But as darkness closed in, she smiled. Somewhere out there, her story was spreading. The ledger was no longer a secret. 2 weeks later, national headlines lit up every screen. Small-town sheriff arrested in human trafficking ring. The transit was exposed. Politicians toppled. Names once untouchable now stood trial. Rebecca Hale's byline was everywhere, but Rebecca herself was gone. Some said she died in the newsroom that night. Others whispered she survived, vanished into hiding, watching from the shadows. But in Millstone, people still leave flowers at the riverbank, where it all began. A place where secrets floated to the surface, and one journalist's fight lit a fire that could never be put out.